Welcome to Walking Through Glass, the podcast with your host, Dr. Dina C. Brown. This is such an amazing opportunity where let me get the music. Let's begin to set the tone, set the pace as I began the very first of Podbean Live. That means I am bringing you your daily dose of Dr. Vitamin D live, right? I am so excited and I am 100% looking forward to bringing you all that you need to have that little bit of sunshine, what I love to call medicine for your mindset, right here on Walking Through Glass, the podcast, right?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, they said because you know what? When I began to think about what it meant to come to you live and bring you just what I call, that little bit of extra something to make sure that you begin to think differently, show up differently, act accordingly, and manifest exactly what you need in your life to live the life of what you dream. That happens right now. It absolutely does. And so, for my very, very first live podcast, I come to you tonight on this Motivational Monday to talk to you about something that is so cool, so interesting, so powerful that you know what? That as you begin to process, and I mean really process these seasonal shifts, that you understand that there's some necessary strategies that you must employ. I had an amazing conversation earlier today, and I talked about what's holding me back, and not necessarily holding me back, but what is creating these roadblocks, these mind traps. And that's really what they are, mind traps, keeping me stuck in a place that I know is not the place in which I am supposed to be sitting in. So as I begin to do the work and do the talk, here's let me share with you tonight on the very first, and I say the very first, Podbean Live with your daily dose of Dr. Vitamin D, which is medicine for your mindset. So I had an amazing, powerful meeting today talking about some upcoming opportunities and the way that I want to show up in my business. Here's what I realized in the conversations that I was having, and not just today, but I mean the conversations that I've been having repeatedly, is that whenever I'm called to quote unquote commit, remember I told you consistency is the area that I need to do the most work, right? When I'm called to commit, I mean, I say that I'm going to show up at this time, this day, for perpetuity or however long it works. I tend to balk at that. So today I began to analyze what's really going on. Why does my spirit, why does my soul, why do I feel this repulsiveness when I'm asked to commit? Why do I immediately cringe when I have to calendar? See, the things that are important, when we begin to set our priorities, it's not what we say, it's really now what we do. How do we schedule it? How do we calendar it? How do we begin to set the tone and the intentionality to our purpose. And I notice when I get to that point where putting it on my calendar, or quote unquote what I call booking it, I seem to recoil. And when I recoil in this space, I notice that in recoiling in this space that I must be operating in a whole nother planar level. And so in that, I begin to ask myself some questions. And these are some of the same questions that you may need to ask yourself. Okay? See if these kind of show up a little bit for you. And in showing up for yourself, you need to begin to understand that there is some pre-scripting, there's some pre-impact, there's some whole bunch of stuff that actually exist. And when it does exist, here's the thing. What are you going to do about it to begin to change the narrative? So, a lot of talking around the point to get to this. I sat down and I have this unique opportunity to add some business development expertise to an amazing organization. And as we were setting the schedule when I would begin to show up for those individuals and show up within those spaces, how will I begin to do that? And as we set to look at the calendar, I was like, oh my God, I just start to get literally physically a headache. And I thought, oh my God, I have to commit. But remember, I already said that consistency is an area. Consistency is an issue. Consistency is something that I need to work on. And so as I begin to shift modes and begin to say to myself, okay, sister, there's something that you need to do. There is something that you absolutely need to do to begin to move past what's keeping you tied to mediocrity. Because that's really what it is being tied to mediocrity, right? And as I sat there and thought about it and processed it, I realized that it really was about how I was thinking about the situation. And then I began to ask myself, do you believe in you? Do you truly and honestly believe that you can have a viable business to bring in the money, the dollars, the income to sustain you? Is that what's causing you to not commit to you? Because here's what I realized in this season is that I said, I'm going all in for me. I'm going all in what Dia needs to make sure that she is showing up. But yet, my mind was stuck in replaying a period, a thought process, an existence that was not conducive for me living the life that I dream about. So, what shifted? What changed? What do I need to do differently? How do I need to begin to show up? I realized that I have to begin to make a decision to show up for me. And when I show up for me, then guess what? Others will begin to see themselves in my journey. And that there's a paradigm shift. There's new information. There's new understandings. Because what I begin to say to myself and think about myself is that what I believe to be these golden handcuffs or this cage that existed when I was in corporate, when I was a school principal, when I was doing a long-term consultation inside of a CPA firm, is that I felt trapped, and that my creativity, my identity, who I was and who I was stifled. And in that space, I wasn't able to thrive. And without being able to thrive, I felt trapped. So, what I had to say to myself in this season, in my now, that I am so ready, more than ready to show up for me. And here's what that looks like. That looks like an intentional shift. That looks like me looking at doing my self-check, understanding where I'm at today and how I need to begin to set the tone and set the space. That means me humbling myself and understanding that I can't do this alone. I was never made to do this alone. And it's in that collaboration, and it's in that me compromising and even sacrificing that element of trust and vulnerability to reach out and say, I need your support, so that I can be intentional and be focused and take action. Because this is a season of shift. And in this season, I dare you, like I dare myself, to really begin to feel the vibe, feel the energy, feel the love, feel exactly who I'm called to be. But you know what it starts with? It starts with making the shift. It starts with beginning to realize that these mental cages are not are forever. So, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Here's the promise. Here's the understanding. Here is all of the things that you need to begin to process about who you are in this season. Are you ready? All right, let's go. You see, my awakened state started with me identifying the fact that I was still stuck and trapped in such a negative mind space that I couldn't see myself moving forward. I couldn't see it. I couldn't visualize it. I couldn't process it. I couldn't understand it. What questions do you begin to ask yourself? Because that's what you actually have to do. You have to actually begin to ask yourself really key questions. Because if you want to shift past these mental cages that keep you trapped in this disillusioned prison, you have to begin to ask yourself the tough questions. Why am I here? How did I get here? But here's the moneymaker. Here's the shift. Here is the gear. What am I willing to do to move past it? What truth do I have to come to realize to move past it? You see, when the music stops, you are left with your own thoughts and a renewed sense of awareness. And with that awareness comes the opportunity for transformation. So, What shifts do you need to make in your life right now to begin to live the life that you desire? What shifts do you need to execute? Because it's about taking the action that goes with it. And I will tell you today, it takes intentionality, it takes honesty, it takes vulnerability. And yes, it is scary. Yes, it is difficult. Yes, you are going to have to walk into unvisited mind spaces. But what happens on the other side of that shift is growth, is a renewed sense of understanding about who you are and what you are called to be. So I hear a lot of people say, I don't know what my purpose is. Yes, you do. Here's the thing. You have to move to that space to be unafraid, to get quiet, to make the shifts that you need. The shifts, it takes movement. So I love to share the visualization. And for those of you who are sports fans and even basketball fans like myself, I always talk about the power of the pivot, but the opportunity of the shift. You see, when you're pivoting, you anchor your left leg or your right leg, depending on what play your coach has called. And you take that and you anchor yourself and you look around looking for who you're going to pass it to, who is going to save you, who is going to answer you, who is going to fix it, who. You're always looking outside of yourself when you're pivoting. But guess what happens when you're forced to shift? You actually have to move. You actually have to take a step. You actually have to take you. So it's not looking outside of yourself. It's looking within to make the movement that's necessary for you to actually receive the understanding that you need. And here's the piece that most of us deal with. It's the fear. It's the fear of missing the shot, the fear of failure, the fear of getting it wrong, the fear of not doing it right. But guess what? That's part of the journey. That's it. So how do we shift past these mental cages that keep us trapped in this disillusioned prison? You have to move. Move afraid. Move without answers. Move without it all being perfect. Move. Move. Shift. And when you do, if you did not receive the outcome that you desired and that you wanted, then guess what? You now have a new opportunity to assess and reevaluate. And guess what? Come up with a new strategy, a new plan of action. Because strategy beats strength any day. Strategy beats strength any day. So what does it take to make the necessary shifts to live the life we desire? Here's it. This is it. This is the shift. You gotta move. You gotta take the risk. And I created an acronym for shift. And so here it is. With shift, the S is to self-check. Where are you now? What do you need? How, okay, do you need to level up? Where are the gaps? Where are the holes? Where are the opportunities? That's the S. That's that self-check piece. Because once you self-check and you begin to identify in the self-check that There's some areas, there's some holes, there's some gaps, there's some opportunities for improvement, there's some opportunities to growth. It now leads you to the H, which is to humble yourself. You're not designed to do everything alone. We are designed to be interdependent. That's what we are. So the H is about humbling yourself, saying, I do not have all the answers. I don't know it all, but I want to learn. And once you identify that space and you realize that you want to learn, guess what? It now leads to the I, to become intentional. You've done your self check, you've humbled yourself, you've identified the areas that you need to grow and that you want to learn, and now you need to get intentional. Start setting the plan, the course of action. And once you have that course of action, guess what this leads to? This new course of action leads you to be able to focus. And once you focus, once you honestly begin to say, well, this is what it is, here's what I'm called to do, here's how I need to show up, here's the action I need to take, now you can take the action. Why? Because there's alignment. Here, I'm getting ready to debunk something. Now, I will share with you, I do have a PhD. I have a Doctor of Philosophy in Leadership and Research. And in that space, I will tell you this. In all my research, in all my years of experience as an educator, in all of my time that I literally have poured into people, grown people, worked in this mindset space, it wasn't until earlier in the year that these words were said and it resonated with me. And here's the debunk. You cannot do anything you want to do. That's a lie. If you do it, you may find yourself frustrated. You might find yourself disoriented. You might find yourself ready to pull out your hair because you are called to do something, not just anything. And once you understand that you're called to do something and not just anything, now you're ready to shift because you can self-check, humble yourself, be intentional, get focused, and take action. Because now there's alignment. And now those mental cages that keep us trapped and disillusioned, we know what to speak to. We speak to our purpose. We speak to our focus. We speak to our intentionality. We speak to our needs, not somebody's bastardized version of who they think we are. So if you really, truly, honestly want to know what this is like and what it takes, then guess what? You've got to be willing. You've got to be willing to be honest. To be honest, to get to the truth. And I promise you, this truth will set you free. It will hurt. It might be painful. It will remind you. It will make you remove layers. All of that and then some. But I tell you this, when you embrace the journey and you keep moving, even if it's micro movement, it's still movement. You're not still stuck in the place in which you thought you were. So I tell you this, I share this with you, that if you truly want to shift and begin to live the life that you desire, it starts with you. Everything you need to manifest the life of your dreams is inside of you. So, self-check, get humble, be intentional, get focused, and take action. And watch how your life changes. This is the season of faith. Today is September 23rd, the official first day of fall. And in this season, I encourage you, I challenge you to not only shift, but as all the dead things that aren't serving you fall away off of your tree of life, that you use those experiences, you use those dead leaves as compost to really begin to fertilize your dreams and fuel your purpose. And when you do that, and it's not easy, I promise you this, it is not easy. When you begin to do that with a sense of intentionality, you will see that day to day, moment to moment, your life will begin to change. And those mental cages that's been holding you back, and those blocks that are buried into your programming, which is an entire another episode we'll talk about rewiring and reprogramming. Maybe I'll go ahead and do that this week as we talk about this fall season and letting all dead things fall away. And if you're interested, as I see people that are live, and Sophia and Heather, Spontanik, those people that have popped into this live, this is the first day of Walking Through Glass going live. And I'm really excited about that. If this is something that you want to talk about, really how to begin to rewire, the actions that you take to rewire, then I'll continue sharing this on Podbean Live. Because what I'd like to bring to you Monday through Friday is what I call your daily dose of vitamin Dr. D, which is medicine for your mindset. And on Sundays, we post our conscious conversations, which are deep dives on all the ish and all the things that we as women deal with. I mean, it's real talk, real conversations. It is unscripted. It is raw. It is real. That happens on Sunday. But I do want to make sure that bringing this kind of content to is what you want to hear, what you need to hear, because mindset mastery is key. When you master your mind, you will master your money, your movement, your motivation, and everything else. And so I appreciate you tuning in to my very first Podbean Live, because I usually just post the episodes. I also invite you to follow Walking Through Glass, the podcast, which is also available on Podbean, iTunes, Google Music Play, Stitcher, and Spotify. I want to make sure that the content that I bring to you is the content that you need to make the shifts to live your very best life. I serve those who are called to serve. And I appreciate any and everyone who listens. And if there's anything that you got a chance to hear on this show resonates with you, I really appreciate you sharing and bringing, because I want to make sure that whoever needs this, they have it. It's not about me. I realize that it's not about me anymore. That it's really, truly, honestly about who I am called to serve. And if you're wondering who you're called to serve, then I tell you right now, get quiet. This is the season of shift. This is about really mastering your mindset. This really is about opening the opportunity and speaking life into your dreams so you can walk into your purpose, especially for those that you're called to serve. You were never here to just do anything. You were made and destined to do something. So I appreciate you. I value you. And I look forward to serving you on Walking Through Glass, the podcast here on Podbean Live. So Monday through Friday, I will bring you your daily dose of vitamin. Actually, let me correct that. Monday through Thursday, because you know what? I'm a mom, and Friday night is Friday night football. So that daily dose of Dr. Vitamin D might be a little bit late. We're doing that because I'm also committed to showing up in my responsibilities. So that's what I got. I appreciate you. If there's anything about this message that resonates with you, please share, invite someone to listen, and I will see you tomorrow night at 8:50 on Podbean Live, Walking Through Glass, the podcast with your host, Dr. Dina C. Brown. And as we take it out, I just want to jam it out and tell you that, you know what? You are enough. You're more than enough. You are worthy. And when you believe it, other people will see it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And that's all I got for you tonight.